Okay, so I'm back with another video. This time it's the non-invasive butt lift tutorial, and I know it's been a while. I really apologize, but I do appreciate your patience. So here is a list of tools and items that I use for my version of the non-invasive butt lift. As you use the machine and do it on a few clients, you'll probably, do things your own way and use different tools, but this is, again, my way and what I use. Next, I'm going to move on to my client. So before any treatment, you want to make sure that you cleanse the area. I'm just using a little bit of alcohol. I'm spraying it directly onto the paper towels that I'm using. I cut my paper towels into squares and I use probably about 3 at a time. You'll notice that I'm switching it out like right here. I'll switch them out and then just cleanse up that area, the glute area and the thigh area. Here I am feeling for firmness and elasticity. So that will determine what you do next. If it's really firm and there's a lot of elasticity, what you'll want to do is you'll want to use the wood therapy tool to break down some of that fat and loosen up the muscles. If it's more loose, then you can just move straight to the ultrasonic cavitation probe. So before you use the wood therapy tool, what you're going to do is lubricate the skin with oil, and I'm using olive oil and a blend or olive oil infused with grapefruit essential oil. And what that does is that it masks the smell of the olive oil, and it's actually a really good combination. So now you're going to use your wood therapy tool to break down the fat and loosen the muscle. It also helps with circulation, and you're just going to go in a back and forth motion. You can also go on like a circular motion. So you're going to do that on each leg for at least 3 minutes. I'm speeding it up for the video, but you do want to work on each leg for about 3 minutes. So again, a back and forth motion and then circular motions would just work just fine. Once we are done breaking down the fat and loosening up those muscles, we're going to move on to the cavitation machine. So again, if it's already loose in that area, you don't even really need to use the wood therapy tool. If you don't have a cavitation machine at home, I know there's like handheld cavitation machines. I'm not really sure how well they work, but if you're doing this on yourself, you might want to, invest in one of those, because if you don't need the wood therapy tool, then, and you don't have either, then, I guess you can still get that flow up into your glute area, but this just pretty much enhances the treatment. So once you're done doing the wood therapy treatment, you want to make sure that all of the oil is completely off of your client's skin, because you're going to be putting cavitation gel on next, and when the cavitation gel mixes with the oil, it's not good at all. It does not, your cavitation probe will not work properly. So you want to make sure that the oil is completely off of your skin, or off of your client's skin, better yet, before you apply the cavitation gel. So now we're going to be applying the cavitation gel. I'm going to do it on both legs right now because we're only going to be doing the cavitation for 2 minutes on each leg. If you were doing a cellulite treatment, then you probably would hold off on using the gel on the other leg. But since it's, such a fast treatment, we're going to just put it right on there at the same time. So you can use a stick to spread the cavitation gel out evenly so that the cavitation probe glides with no issue on each part of the thigh. Again, the cavitation probe is going to be going on a total of 4 minutes because you're going to be doing 2 and 2 on each leg. So you're just going to go in like a clockwise motion, and then you can also do like a side by side. So I'm speeding it up right here because this part was a bit longer than I wanted it to be. So basically the cavitation probe, what it does is it sends waves to the fat cells, and then the fat cells, once the waves hit them, the fat disperses out of the cells and then they liquefy. So now I'm just cleansing the area again, taking all that gel off of there. And this is the vacuum. So in the unboxing video, I did not show you that there's also a filter in the vacuum, and this is pretty vital, so my apologies for that. You need to have a filter in there because your hoses will get extremely dirty and there will be a lot of product buildup in your hoses if you don't have a filter in there. When you're sucking up with that oil on your client's skin, the oil will go right into that filter. So it'll just hit the filter. And that'll save your hose a lot, because the hoses are extremely tedious to clean and you don't want to deal with that. So make sure you have that filter. Your machine should come with it. If it doesn't, you should buy them. So here is the Y-shaped hose. That's what we're going to be using next. The vacuum comes before the cups. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to be tying one end of the Y like I showed you in the unboxing video, because again, the suction will not work on one end if the other is not tied. And the machine does come with single hoses, but it's kind of a situation of it's kind of like you're working smarter, not harder, because again, those hoses are really tedious to clean and it can be annoying. So it's better to just tie a knot in one of the hoses and use that Y hose, because you're going to use it again on your cups. So tie one end, put the other end on the vacuum, and then the other end, the opposite end, is going into the machine. So here I'm just putting more oil on the client's skin, because when you're dragging that vacuum, you don't want to drag it while the skin is dry. You want the skin to be nice and lubricated, because it's already kind of painful from the pressure, so you don't want it to add to the pain. So it kind of looks like I'm doing nothing right now, but I actually am, and you'll start to see when her skin gets red. So I'm going to pause in a second because I'm going to add more oil here to the glute area, because again, you want to make sure that it's nice and lubricated when you are dragging these tools across their bodies. Okay, so here you're just going to go from the bottom of the thigh and you're going to drag right to the area where they want to enhance. And obviously she wants to enhance the glute area, so that's where we're dragging the fat to. And then you're going to do it on both sides, and you're going to do it for literally 2 minutes again, because anything more than 2 minutes is a cellulite treatment, and we're not doing a cellulite treatment, so there's no need to do it for more than 2 minutes. I also sped it up again for purposes of the video, but you do want to take the 2 minutes and do it on each thigh. The unboxing video shows you how to use the machine, so I apologize that I didn't show you here, but you can go back and watch the unboxing video for settings. All right, so once you're done with the vacuum, I'm gonna take out that hose out of the vacuum, and you're gonna untie the tube, because now they're gonna go into your cups. There's different size cups. I'm using the large cups here. The size that you use is gonna depend on your client and what size bottom they have. So you're gonna put one of the Y's into each cup. My cup actually just fell, and you want to make sure that you have cups on deck, because my cup fell and I had to use a different cup. And also you want to make sure you have extra cups on deck and extra hoses on deck, because if you have clients back to back, you're not going to be able to clean those cups and those hoses in time. So make sure you have extra cups, extra hoses. So we're gonna put the holes in each of the cups. Once I get it on there, it's a little annoying to get on. Sometimes your hands are slippery and those things are kind of small. So I'm putting more oil onto the skin, because again, you don't want the suction to pull on dry skin. Where you place the cups will depend on what your client is looking for. My client is looking for just like a little bit of a lift, so this is where I'm placing the cups on her. You need to place them both at the same time. And when you first place them, you're gonna have you want to have both. You're gonna have the suction and the release on, so you're gonna have 1 up for the suction and 0.5 for the release, so that you can have that pulsing feeling. What I'm showing you here is I'm pinching the hose, because you'll see in a clip later on in the video that the meter on the machine will stop. Well, I'm sorry, the meter on the machine will start to rise once the cups feel like they've sucked enough. And sometimes you'll be like, okay, like I feel like you sucked enough, but the machine will not feel like that. So instead of a burst of pressure, I'm just squeezing the hole so that my client feels it little by little. Once that meter starts to rise, I'll be able to let go of the hose, which I just did now. And now the machine will pretty much work on its own. So it'll give like the squat effect, if that makes sense. And again, you want to do one up for the suction and half down for the release. So one suction, 0.5 for the release. The clip that you're going to see is going to be 1-in-1, and it's because my client, this is her first time doing this butt lift, and I just gave her a little bit more of a release. So here you see it, it's 1-in-1. So where you see where it says release, that's going to be 0.5, and then the pressure's at 5, which is the lowest. Here we are pretty much almost done the treatment. That was 30 minutes. I know the machine said 1 and some change, but this was a 30-minute treatment. And once the machine stops, the cups will begin to release, but they won't be fully released. So you'll have to slip your finger under there a little bit and just like kind of run it around the edge very lightly. Sometimes your client might feel a little sore, and then you'll be able to release the cup that way. So again, on this side, just slip your finger underneath there and it'll come right off. That redness will go away once, over the next couple of days. There's a little bit of soreness at first, but then that literally goes away right away. So the more elasticity in the skin, the better the butt lift will take. If the skin is very loose on the butt, it's not going to take very well. But when there's a lot of elasticity, like my client here, the results are really, really good. So you are going to need to tell your clients that, you're going to need to tell them that it'll work better when there's more elasticity. So again, her butt was more firm and it worked for her. Also, the glute area will be right there. It'll be a little hard. You want to kind of massage that area a little bit to get the blood flowing back in that area. All right, so now we're going to get into before and afters. So here are before and after pictures. These are not edited besides, the blackout. The lighting looks a little different. I don't really know why, but they're not edited as far as shape. So then here's a before, and then there's an after. Her butt lift took pretty well because, again, she has a lot of elasticity in her skin, so it worked out pretty well for her. And then I just gave you different angles so that you could see what it did. It gave a pretty good shape. And then the last clip will be of the settings again of my machine. And that is about it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I'll see you next time.